Hey everybody, Larry Lawton. Here is the wildest courtroom escapes, my reaction. Let's jump right in.
This is Gerald Hyde II, who was just convicted of drug possession at the Benton County Justice Center in Washington State. Hyde was led down the holding cell with other convicts before being taken to prison. But Hyde had other ideas. As an officer turned his back to him, Hyde slipped out and snuck back into the courtroom. He then removed his prison shirt and used it to hide the handcuffs. Hyde then made it down the hallway, ditching his noticeable prison shoes in the process. Before exiting through the lobby and making a run for it out onto the streets. But Hyde's freedom didn't last long. He was recaptured 2 hours after his escape. The 24-year-old was later convicted of second-degree escape and sentenced to 2 years and 2 months in prison. While Gerald Hyde had a nifty attempt to escape justice, what happens when a convict is so...
All right, man, I have to talk about this case. If you're going to escape on just a conviction of a drug possession charge, then you're a moron. You're really either a serious addict to get out of that prison. I don't know what was holding him back. Usually there's more to it. It's crazy. And that blows me away right there. How in the world are you going to escape for prison for that? That made no sense to me, guys. And gets caught 2 hours later. Once you're out, and he obviously was out of handcuffs or something of that nature. But to be out of handcuffs, be ready, and then just get caught 2 hours. You really didn't want to escape, or you got out just to handle something that was so important. Maybe the drug dealer said, I'm going to kill you in prison if you don't get me my money. Or whatever they said. I don't know what would happen, but it sounds just a stupidity is what that was. And this is crazy because I'm watching this along with you people. I've never seen these before.
Fast, even the camera can't keep up. Like in the case of Rayton Woodford, who's in Jefferson County Circuit Court for violating his probation. According to reports, the 29-year-old was previously sentenced to probation for drugs and weapon-related charges. Now, in court, Woodford's girlfriend sat just a few feet away, showing support. During the hearing, a detective took the stand.
Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give will be truthful?
That evening, he was charged with the handgun and narcotics.
And if you know, was Mr. Woodford at the time a convicted felon?
Yes, he was.
The courtroom camera remained locked on the witness stand as Judge Barry Willett announced his decision.
Probation revoked in its entirety. Mr. Woodford, I'm going to send you to serve 5 years. Good luck to you. No, ma'am.
Moments later, the unthinkable happened. There was a flash across the camera as Woodford attempted to make a break for it. His girlfriend could be heard pleading him to stop.
The record will reflect that Mr. Woodford made an unsuccessful effort to escape.
Woodford's escape was unsuccessful. He was brought back into the courtroom by deputies and arrested. As Woodford was being ushered away, his girlfriend claimed she was pushed and her hair was pulled by a deputy during the scuffle. Judge Willett allowed her to address the court.
I didn't do anything wrong, and he didn't have to put his hands on me, period.
Okay, I've heard you.
But when she started throwing accusations at the judge himself, he lost his patience.
But you condoning that, right?
I'm not condoning any... No, wait a minute. Come back up here right now.
Okay.
Don't you tell me I'm condoning anything. I just told you what I observed. You made an effort to stop him from leaving. I appreciate that. But in the thick of it, when your boyfriend is fighting with deputies, people might get pushed out of the way.
Woodford's girlfriend faced no additional charges.
She tearfully leaves the courtroom moments later.
In contrast, Woodford faced an additional charge of second-degree escape on top of his 5-year sentence. While no one was injured during Rayton Woodford's escape attempt, what happens when an officer takes a...
That one was really interesting, and I'll tell you where I had a lot of thoughts going on in my head. I'm in shock watching that one, and I'll tell you why. Man, I mean, the judge was a prick to begin with. Right off the bat, I mean, oh, can I hug him? No, ma'am, no. I mean, really curt. It was like he didn't like this guy for whatever. Yes, he was a convicted felon. Here's where this guy messed up. First of all, I don't believe these escapes should actually be charged with more time, especially this escape. To be charged with a second-degree escape, that shouldn't even be a charge. Because, listen, when you tell somebody their freedom is gone, this country is based on freedoms. We wanted to be free from England. So why can't this guy? And I get it. You're not supposed to. But now if they give him a life sentence, you're supposed to say, hey, thank you, Your Honor. Appreciate that. Let me go. No chance of parole or whatever. In this case with this guy, and he got caught, listen, that was a reaction. That was a bullshit. I hope he didn't get no time. The judge wasn't too great. It wasn't a big charge still, kid. I mean, you were a convicted felon already. You got caught with a firearm doing something. Yo, bro, come on, man. You know the law. Every felon knows that you cannot have a gun. Let's check the next one out.
Nosedive to catch a convict. Like in the case of Nicholas Garrison, who was just sentenced for drug possession in Greenfield, Ohio. The 34-year-old was being prepped to be taken to prison when suddenly...
Let me stop. And I said I wasn't going to stop, but I have to. And I'm just going to take a guess. Look at that back area where they have the people. It looks like I've never seen that before. Now, was that because the COVID was up or something? They still ran court? It might be, because I'm now looking at the deputy. Because this really confused me, and I had to talk about that. Now, obviously, let's see if this kid gets away. When you're being prepped for transfer is the best time they're going to get you. You can usually try to escape. That was a big valiant attempt.
Let's back up. 2 deputies were restraining Garrison to be taken to jail. However, as one of them turned away for a split second, Garrison bolted. He burst out of the courtroom and made for the stairs as a deputy took a giant leap to catch him. But Garrison managed to slip away and escape. He evaded police for a while before finally being captured at a motel 4 days later. He was later handed a 6-year prison sentence for his efforts. As for the daring deputy, he suffered 4 broken ribs and a concussion.
Wow. Now, I will tell you one thing. That kid got 6 years for that escape. I mean, attempt. I don't get those things. The deputy got hurt. That's him. You're going crazy. Why are you doing that? To see, I wouldn't do that for this guy. He's a drug possession guy. You're not looking at murderers and stuff like that, guys. So that is what kind of makes me a little bit think what's going on. I don't know. So I might have seen this one in another video. I don't know. We'll see. And if it's not, well, then it won't be wherever.
Suffering a broken foot, while another sustained a jaw injury. Nicholson faced additional charges of attempting to escape from custody and recklessly causing harm to a prescribed emergency worker. He later pleaded guilty and was sentenced to 21 months in prison. While Daniel Nicholson's actions could be blamed on drug use, what happens when a convict
All right, here's the next one.
takes advantage of the law? Like in the case of 28-year-old Eddie Villalobos, who's facing a murder trial in Hillsboro, Oregon. In 2021, Villalobos was charged with second-degree murder after he allegedly stabbed a man to death. Now in court, about to stand trial, 2 deputies escorted Villalobos into the courtroom. His shackles were then removed because, under Oregon law, a defendant should not be restrained in front of the jury to avoid prejudice.
That's not only under Oregon law. I had to stop it. That is also under the federal law. You do get under. That's why I'm automatically thinking, why isn't there more security? This guy's facing life in prison, and he is what they call representing himself, which you can do. It's called pro se, for oneself in the law. So I had to tell you that. Especially no deputy right at the door. Most courtrooms have a deputy standing right at that door, especially in a case like this. And there's really nobody in there for a murder case. I mean, I know the jury's not present yet. Of course they're not. But if they're close to trial where they're already taking his cuffs off and everything, man, then there's nobody at this trial, and that's rare.
However, Villalobos was not the one to play by the rules. Just seconds after his hand and leg restraints were removed, Villalobos hopped over a chair and bolted towards the door. He raced through the hallway as deputies desperately pursued him.
Wow, look at this.
Villalobos made it down the stairs and exited through the lobby, closing the door behind him. Before finally escaping the building. A 2-hour manhunt ensued before authorities got a call that a person was trying to break into an apartment next door. When police arrived, they found Villalobos hiding under a blanket inside a closet. He was arrested and charged with first-degree burglary and second-degree escape.
This is the moment Villalobos was taken into custody after a 2-hour search. The Washington County Sheriff's Office says he was hiding in a hallway and he was arrested without incident.
A few months later, Villalobos was convicted of the murder charge and sentenced to life in prison, with the possibility of parole after 25 years. While Eddie Villalobos was recaptured quickly by an efficient police force.
Listen, Eddie Villalobos, you got that many years you're trying. I didn't see that before, I'll tell you what. And I think I would do the same thing. Now, let me tell you where I can't believe he's facing that much time and they had the courtroom that week. That's just maybe a personnel error. Maybe they're just that understaffed where they can't put a deputy right there. But before you take a guy's leg irons in a courtroom who's facing life, at least put a guy at the door. Or you had 2 of them there, which I'm sure that's their policy. Put one of them at the door. I mean, that's the only way he's going to get out. And the guy gave it a valiant effort. He got out of the building. He didn't know where to go. He probably wasn't in that area. And it was he kind of planned it, I'm sure.
What happens when
but not really. So I thought it was pretty good. So let's check out the next one.
Have to bring a convict down.
I said, hey, stop, man, don't do this. But he didn't even give me a chance, really. And
like in the case of Israel Pointer, who was at the Oklahoma County Courthouse for a bond hearing. Facing robbery and firearms charges, the 19-year-old just learned his bond was revoked. Realizing he was about to go to jail, Pointer made a break for it. Bursting through the courtroom door, Pointer escaped the clutches of one deputy while narrowly missing another. Pointer then ran into 2 more deputies who managed to catch him, but he proved to be too slippery for them. Once again, Pointer managed to break free. About to taste freedom, Pointer then encountered a group of attorneys.
Look at those guys. How does that look? They look like the 3 lineups that block. The big guy in the middle, he's the big guy. The linebacker, the center, he's the nose guard. The other guy's on there. This guy's coming out. He's the fast one. He's the end. This is, and here comes the running back. So this is wild.
Instead of getting out of the way, Oklahoma County District Attorney David Prater grabbed Pointer and refused to let go. Other attorneys stepped in and overpowered the defendant. DA Prater was no stranger to catching fleeing defendants. Turns out this was his 4th time.
You know, working in this courthouse is a lot like being in the Wild West again. You just never know what's going to happen. Just stepped in.
Pointer was finally taken into custody and additionally charged with resisting arrest. While a vigilant lawyer stood between a defendant and his freedom, what happens?
You know, people do step in, and so if you're going to escape, you have to watch for everybody. That's my only advice there, or not advice, or reaction to that. The guy gave it an effort, but again, where are we dealing with? This guy wasn't a serious thing. They just revoked his bond because he was probably failed a urine test or whatever the hell he did. Didn't sound like it was like a new charge crime. Otherwise, he probably wouldn't have showed up if he was on bond. Or if he was in jail and he went there, then I get he's looking to flee. I'm not staying. I don't get it. Let me do one more of this. Here we go.
When a convict shows Olympic-level athleticism to escape, like in the case of Gregory Wright, who's facing trial for armed robbery in Detroit, Michigan. Back
Armed robbery, serious.
in 1995, 22-year-old Wright reportedly robbed a man at gunpoint and stole his vehicle. While fleeing from police, Wright slammed into a police cruiser and opened fire, hitting an officer in the arm. A day later, Wright was arrested and charged with robbery and firearms-related offenses. While being taken to court, Wright showed 0 remorse for his actions.
All I got to say is I have no remorse for shooting that police officer. He got what he deserved. If I had the opportunity to kill him, I'd kill him.
At his pretrial hearing, the judge set Wright's bond at a staggering $50,000.
Okay, are we on the same planet right now? This kid robbed a car, had a shootout with cops, shot the cop, told him on the paper in the newspaper, man, I have no remorse. I would have killed that dude, and I'll kill that dude. And then the judge gives him a staggering $50,000 bond? What planet am I on? This is not that far. This is 95. This is when Larry Lawton, 96, gets arrested and I had no bond. I tried to put up a $500,000 bond. I didn't shoot a cop. Jeez, I was a good guy compared to this guy.
$1,000. Knowing for certain he was going to jail, Wright made a break for it. As he was being shown the door which led to his imprisonment, Wright decided to take the opposite route. After escaping the clutches of an officer, Wright made an impressive leap to clear the barricade. But unfortunately, he fell straight into the arms of officers. It finally took 7 officers to subdue the defendant. Wright's bond was eventually removed and he was ordered to remain in prison. As for his trial, Wright was ultimately convicted and sentenced to life imprisonment.
He knew his crime. He knew how serious that crime was. I'll tell you that. And I'll tell you another thing, boys and girls. That guy right there, that is not, that was some bullshit right there. What do you mean it was an athletic move? I could have did that when I was a young kid. You kidding me? I could have did that when I got arrested. I did it. I used to jump over jewelry counters like that. I could jump right over a jewelry counter. Come on, guys. That wasn't some feat. This guy jumped into the arms of 7 more cops. Hey, that's not real. That's just a stupid. But I get it. I get it. The guy got life. He totally killed the cop. The guy got life. He's never getting out. You know, he's in prison. I get it. Wouldn't do it, but get it. One more, Nick. Let me see what is it.
While Gregory Wright displayed great athleticism in court, what happens when an escape attempt is straight out of the movies? For that, we go to the Franklin County Courthouse in Columbus, Ohio, where a group of female defendants were on their way to jail after getting arraigned. Among them was 39-year-old Mobley, who was indicted for aggravated theft, and 40-year-old Morrissey, who was charged with drunk driving. However,
wow, I always look at the first thing I do when I look at one of these guys is I do look at the charges. No charges to be worried about, and women to boot. Not that women are crazy in the joint.
The two bold women had no plans to go to prison. Shackled to each other at the wrist, Mobley and Morrissey first stepped back at the back of the line. Then, in a desperate attempt to escape, the two women slipped under the prison bus.
This is movie shit.
Shockingly, the court officers, not noticing that they were 2 inmates short, kept loading the bus with more prisoners. Oblivious that 2 prisoners were under the bus instead of inside of it, the bus pulled out onto the streets. A few minutes later, it stopped at a red light when, somehow managing to unshackle herself, Morrissey was seen running away from the scene. However, a local private detective who just happened to pass by noticed Morrissey and chased after her.
Always a good buyer, good citizen. You know what do you call him? A good Samaritan.
She was eventually captured and handed over to police.
Within seconds of her escape, Meyer walks the defeated captive back to the courthouse. But nobody at the sheriff's office seems to notice they're missing prisoners.
As for Mobley, she was found hiding in the bushes at the side of the freeway. The escape attempt had left her with a broken back, and she was sent to the hospital. After the dust settled, both women were charged with felony escape. While Tracy Mobley and Mary Morrissey risked their lives for freedom, what happens?
Well, how can I say? They somehow hung on to the bus while it went out the prison to drag them out of there. I can't see it unless they get hung up, somehow. That takes balls. Who knows under a car? I wouldn't. Me under a bus like that, listen, I give them credit. Why in the world would you escape for a DUI and you get a broken back? So her sentence is done. That's well worse than they could do to her. And the other girl was a petty theft. We're talking, this is crazy, but that's what it is. Wild courtroom escapes does not mean smart courtroom escapes. I'll see you on the next video.